Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former WBC flyweight champion of the world. It is, of course, Mr. Charlie Edwards. Charlie, it's been a long time. Welcome back.
Nice one, mate. It's good to be back. It's good to be back up in the lights where I belong. It's been a very hard and grueling few years of inactivity, etc. But we're back on top, baby. Bantamweight European champion now, highly ranked in all the governing bodies, and pushing on to Japan.
Absolutely, and I'm over the moon for you. One thing that hasn't been inactive, you probably don't remember this, but years and years ago you sent me a voice note, and it's still on the intro every single week for the podcast. So the listeners hear your voice every single week, which is brilliant. We haven't, though, done an interview since 2018. It's been a long time, like I say. How have things been in that time, in a nutshell?
Oh, mate, it's been a rocky roller coaster. Good, the bad, the ugly. But you know what? In that time, I've developed a character and I've grown into a person that I'm very proud of today. And it's the person that I need to be to kind of like walk the next steps. I'm coming into the peak years of my career now, so it's all systems go for me. I'm a fresh fighter who won a world title very early, who was chucked into the limelight from being an overnight success, media attention, big following come all of a sudden, and then it got took away from me, swept under my feet, with a lot of stuff that is boxing politics, which I don't really need to go into too much. It's well documented everywhere, and now I've landed where I am today, and that's the best Charlie Edwards at this moment in time in his career, coming into his peak years of his career, and looking to push for legacy now. Like, my goal is legacy. My dream is to go down as a British great and become a multi-weight world champion, a 4 times world champion at 4 different weight divisions. And you can call me deluded, but that's the dream that I've been sent from God. You know, that's what's in my mind, and we take one fight at a time and give everything to that fight that's in front of us, and we push until the wheels fall off.
And talking of one fight at a time, let's jump in. Obviously, you dethroned EBU European champion Thomas Essomba the other Friday at York Hall. Talk me through that fight, Charlie. The commentators had it very close going into the last 2.
Yeah, I was actually very surprised and shocked with the commentators. I've watched the fight back. Many other people have said the same things. I said I don't know what them commentators are watching, because it was quite comfortably, you was one step ahead of everything. You was pushing the pace, you was hitting in and out. I don't know if my hand speed is too quick and the old boys on the commentary couldn't pick it up, or they was distracted and talking amongst each other, but it's not something that I agreed with. The scorecards and judges had it a lot wider. I've been hard on myself. I had it 8 rounds to 4, but a lot of people were saying I thought you'd only lost 2 rounds or lost 3 rounds, and I think it's hard, isn't it? Because when everyone expects and wants you to knock someone out, or they want you to like completely whitewash someone, any bit of little success in certain rounds, maybe they sway the other way because they don't expect them to have any success. Yeah. So it was a fight that was a good fight. I knew Thomas. I've known Thomas. You've probably known Thomas and you've seen him. 2-time Olympian. His record, he only loses by 1 or 2 rounds. I think actually am, because I've researched it on BoxRec. I'm the fighter who's beaten most convincing in his pro career.
Wow. So
we know he was up against a hard fight, a tough fight, and a tricky operator. And he was also with my old team. My brother was in his corner as his manager. I'm happy with the fight. It was a tricky fight. It was probably one of my easiest physically fights, and like fitness-wise, I didn't feel like I got out of gear, to be honest. He didn't really want to do much. He was just trying to nick it and be negative. So I just chipped away, got the job done, and always was that one step ahead of him. And I enjoyed it. I think that fight was probably my most kind of mentally challenging fight, because of all the build-up, because of who was with him. I was hearing my old teammate, Dalton Smith, and we're really good friends, you know what I mean? Him shouting what to do against me in the other corner. All them little things played a bit of, like, a little tick in my head, because it's been like a very big personal growth journey, the whole build-up, beating my old team, going up against my brother when he was in their corner. So for me, I was happy, you know, and I feel like that's going to have grown me massively now, stepping into the next stages, stepping into the world scene, you know. He just tried to nick the fight. He didn't want to engage. When he tried to engage, now I've watched the fight a few times back, I buzzed him, I hurt him, which made him go more negative. So he played a tricky fight, and all praise and all props to him. It was a fight that I think's grown me massively.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the cleaner, more consistent work was coming from yourself, but as we know, Essomba, he can be a bit of a nightmare. I never forget, you know, the fight he had against Thomas Patrick Ward. He was a complete nightmare that night, and he can be very hard to look good against. I'm happy that you said there, you know, that you know, perhaps the commentary were a bit off, because, yeah, as soon as I saw them say it was really close, I went and checked the in-play odds, and it wasn't close. You know, the bookies had you cruising that fight as well, so maybe the commentary were off. You mentioned, Charlie, that obviously Sonny managed or manages Thomas. Did you go in with, I think you kind of did go in with a point to prove, but did Sonny really, truly think Thomas would be able to beat you?
I personally, I can only speak from me as his brother, I personally think he knew that I was going to come on top. He knew the right Charlie Edwards turns up on the night he beats absolutely anyone in the world, because he knows how good I am. However, I've got to give my brother props as a manager. He is a good manager, and at the end of the day, that was Thomas's biggest opportunity against his own brother. Had he beat me, he could have gone on to the world scene. And he definitely would have got picked on the world scene as a voluntary or something for a world title. So he gave Thomas, his fighter, the best opportunity. Thomas also got paid the most he's ever been paid in his career, which has set him up nicely. And you know what? Like, it was something I wanted, and he gifted me that. You know, so I've got to hold a lot of love and respect for my brother, because before I won the European title last week, everyone was just like, "Oh, he's come back again." Even though I won the WBC international title in my last fight against a proper fighter, now I'm European champion. People have started to stand up and show me respect again, and realise that I'm a bloody good fighter. You know, after being writ off after COVID, after being kept inactive, and promotional issues, management issues, like. It's been a tough road. I've been staying in the gym, constantly grinding, constantly developing, staying fresh, eating clean, quit alcohol and everything, really gone deep in myself. So now I'm back on top. It's great. But I owe that to my brother, really, because I've been in everyone knows, anyone who's anyone in the actual boxing world, why I've been in the Who Needs Him Club is because I'm a hard night's work for absolutely anyone. I'm always fit, always strong, sharp, can box, can fight, can punch. So, like, I'm an all-rounded fighter. So people don't want to take that risk. But my brother allowed me and give Thomas the perfect opportunity in his career to fight and to get back in where I deserve. So now I'm back in top. I'm in the headlines. All the media channels are all over me again. Big fights on the horizon. I'm mentally there, ready for them big fights. And I'm hungrier than ever. So, like I said, I've got to be grateful for that time, because I'm back now.
And Charlie, a bit of a personal question, but I wanted to ask, how did the rest of your family feel about you kind of being in opposite corners with Sonny? Were they able to look at it as strictly business, or was there an emotional attachment?
We're in the show business, you know. Obviously, my sister was backing me, and my family are backing me in that sense, because at the end of the day, I'm the one fighting. But my brother played his role. He played the villain. He turned up in his Frank Lucas jacket, which I gave him the idea to do in weeks in advance. So we played we played show business, you know, and that fight become a lot bigger than it would have been if we didn't play the show business, you know. And it's brought the Edwards name even bigger to light. And at the end of the day, we all knew it was kind of business.
Excellent, man. And obviously, as soon as you were announced the winner, you whipped on a T-shirt. You became the villain then. Paul Butler on the T-shirt, Joe Gallagher on the front of the T-shirt. There seems to obviously be a lot of beef with your former trainer, Joe Gallagher. For those that don't know, Charlie, where did that come from? What can you tell us?
To be honest, like, I've been getting these questions a lot, and it's all well documented. It's all out there. I don't need to go on about him too much more. Like, I'm sick of his name, to be honest. And what people don't understand is this whole situation right now. We're talking present. I'm not going to go back and talk about the past and that. The present moment we're in now is that although I put that T-shirt on after my fight and made it public that I want him, it's not actually, that is not the actual full extent of the story. And this is what people don't understand. This is how the mandatory challenger works. So I weren't even in the picture. Thomas was champion. And there was hints that I wanted to go for the EBU and fight Thomas. And everything kind of it was longed out and the fight weren't getting made, etc. So Paul and his team, they emailed the EBU and applied, because this is how it works. They applied to be the mandatory challenger for the EBU title. So then the EBU have gone away, looked at Paul's resume and what he's achieved and that, and deemed him, he'd be good for the title. So they accepted Paul Butler's and his team's proposal and made him the mandatory. So Paul and his team tried to push the mandatory on Thomas Essomba, not realising that Thomas Essomba had a voluntary defence that he's allowed to do before he fights his mandatory. So without knowing, they made themselves mandatory. But Thomas then decided to pick his voluntary. And obviously me and my brothers have been talking, and Nitha and Keller Sowland have been talking, and Lee Eaton, to make the fight. So we made the fight. So theoretically, Paul Butler thought Charlie Edwards was out of the picture, or him and his team tried to push me out of the picture to steal the title fight. So they didn't know I was going to be the champion at the time. So really, they called out me. And in the eyes, they called the champion out. All right, I weren't around there, but I'm around now. So you called the EBU champion. You wanted the belt. Right, I gone and beat Thomas, which I had confidence in doing, and thought, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to happen, that I get called out by Paul Butler and his team, my old team, and it gets a pull-out or it goes under the radar and the fight don't happen because they've jumped the IBO route or they just don't fancy the fight for whatever situation. So that's why I put the T-shirt on after the fight, because I weren't allowing that to happen. So realistically, it's not me gunning for Paul Butler and Joseph Gallagher. They're gunning for me. I just made it public.
Right.
So if I don't get anything bigger, because I'm holding the chips now, I'm in the driver's seat. If I don't get anything bigger, world title shots, and that's either at super flyweight or bantamweight, because I would drop down to super flyweight if there's a world title shot and there's an opportunity, because I'm in this game for legacy. So I would win a world title at super flyweight and move straight back up to bantamweight and win a world title, and then I've got a few years to grow into a super bantam to chase my dream. But if that doesn't happen and we can't get that, or get me in a world title eliminator or something like that, then you best believe I'm fighting my mandatory. It's gone to purse bids. Purse bids have to be done by the end of the month. So that is what's going to happen. I think Paul Butler is a true fighting man, because why would you put yourself in a position, no matter who the champion is, if you put yourself in the position you want to fight for that title. So we'll see what happens. But normally, when somebody goes missing and stays quiet, they don't want to be found. So I suppose some questions have got to be asked to his side, his team, and find out what's what. But only time will tell, and it's all in God's plan. And whatever gets presented to me, we can make a decision and go from there. But that was the whole story behind that.
No, I appreciate you explaining that and shedding some light on it. Like I say, it does seem like, yeah, you're holding the chips. Your future's bright. You got a lot of options, which is fantastic. And I'm glad that you're finally at that stage after the boxing politics screwed you around for a while. Edwards Yafai, we are finally getting it. November 30th, Sonny versus Galal. Sadly, not yourself versus Cal. How does that fight go, Charlie?
I think it's going to be a Sonny Edwards win. Obviously, it depends what Sonny Edwards turns up in his head and what he wants to do and prove. I would like to stick him to what he knows best, and that's Showtime Sonny. Although he got booed out in America in his last fight for making it such a one-sided landslide, dominant win, he got booed because he was hitting, moving, dropping his hand and doing that. But in the UK, I believe that the UK fans will love that. They love Sonny for what he used to be as a ghost, making people miss and saying, yeah, they love him also when he goes in and tries to have a tear up in a fight. But for me, I'd like to see Sonny box in a clever, mature way and absolutely unanimous points him and actually make it look so easy and show that he's levels above him. That's how I would like to see him fight.
Yeah, we cannot wait for that one. You did say that you had some promo stuff to release for you against Cal. Obviously, the fight never ended up happening. The footage never got released. What have you got up your sleeve, you little tease?
I actually released it last week. So if you want to see it, head over to my Instagram. Basically, when Cal decided to run off to America to not give me the fight I've wanted and chased for 6 years because he's always dodged me and always not been confident in beating me. It's all come to light right now because he went off to America, tried to slide under the radar. He fought Rodriguez, got knocked out in the first or second round. Then he announces his retirement. He already had his retirement date and everything printed into his fight kit. So it just brought it to light that, you are a coward, Cal. And you never wanted to fight Charlie Edwards, and you always tried to put me down and said I offered nothing, or thing. When I offered everything, I offered you 3 times the amount of pay that you got for your last fight where you got knocked out in, and I was going to put my fight purse on the line, and my sponsor was going to pay my fight purse to get that fight because we wanted it that bad because it would have really added to my legacy story. And at the time of the quiet months when I was so inactive and didn't have nothing for so long, that was going to be my moment to get back to where I belonged because I would have wiped him out like the last one. And then Rodriguez went on to lose 2 fights after Cal, so he's not even a contender no more. So it just, everything has materialised of what I said about Coward Cal. And Eddie Hearn wanted us on the press conference table, Sonny Galal, Cal and me, because he really wanted to build this bloodline big show that was going to bring more and more eyes to it. But Coward Cal, being the coward he is, didn't want to. He rejected to sit on the press conference table, and so it's been a little bit bitter for me because it's the one that always got away. I ain't ashamed to say that. So that's why I will continue to spread light on the fact that he dodged me for so many years, 6 whole years. And it was a shame because it would have built even Sonny and Galal's fight even bigger. But he didn't want to play his part. It is what it is. But if you want to see the little content that I've chucked out, what I was going to use if he did win in that last fight, head over to my Instagram and you'll see Cal's ugly face sitting there. And you can click on it and see it. It's a laugh.
Yeah, it is a shame that fight got away because, like I say, I remember when you were coming up, from your pro debut, and Sonny, to be honest, you were coming up through those kind of British ranks and there wasn't really good enough opposition for either of you. You just blitzing through everyone and you kind of do need a dance partner sometimes, especially down at, flyweight, for example. And yeah, it's a shame we never did get that, unfortunately. It wasn't to do with your side, obviously, Charlie. The golden question and the final question I've got for you, Charlie, when will you be back out? You're in, obviously, like you say, the best position right now that you've been in for a number of years, I think is fair to say, and I'm really happy for you about that.
Yeah, I want to be out ASAP. You know me, from the inactivity. I just want to fight, and I want to fight. I want to be active. That's the key for me. We don't know how the conversations have been going. We're still waiting to hear from Nissa, Kellasal and Wasserman, but they're working diligently in the background, reaching out to Mr. Hondas and the other champions and stuff and the organisations, etc., etc. So we don't know. I'm on 2 weeks training ban from my coach Stephen Smith, so I'm not allowed to train. So on Friday I go to Sweden and I'll start ticking over again and getting some work in with the coach over there that I've linked up with before in the past. And as soon as if I get a call and say, yo, Japan, Boxing Day, Japan New Year's Day, I'm straight back into camp and I'm going for it. Do you know what I mean? But the next TV date for Channel 5 and Wasserman, I think, is around end of January, February time. So that's the latest I'll be out. But hopefully it'll be sooner.
Oh, that's fantastic, Charlie. And just before we let you go, my friend, like I say, we haven't had you on for a number of years. You were on Core probably about as a free fight novice all them years back. If you've got any closing words to the listeners, you want to send a little message before we let you go, the floor is yours, my friend.
I just want to say a massive thank you for each and everyone out there who has believed in me through these times and stuck by me, supported me, messaged me, wished me back in the ring and sent out good positive energy for me, because it's all been very much appreciated. I'm grateful for it. We're back on this journey and this path now for greatness. And the world is really my oyster again, and there's going to be some massive nights ahead for Charlie Edwards and everyone who has supported me and continues to support me and who is coming on board now to support me. Buckle up, because it's going to be a good one.
Listen, Charlie, I want to thank you so much for your time. Congrats again on that win. We'll speak again hopefully sometime before another 6 years pass.
Yeah, 100%, Joey. Nice one, brother. Keep up the good work.